Hey everyone, Agatha All Along, episode 4 is out. If I can't reach you, let my song teach you. Brings a mix of expected story issues along with a few surprises. But is it enough to push the story forward and turn up the Marvel excitement? Or are we still stuck dealing with the same pacing as last week? So let's dive in and find out. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more reviews because we've got a lot to talk about. Thanks so much for watching. All right, so this episode kicks off with a bunch of finger pointing as the witches play the blame game for why Mrs. Hart died. But as soon as she's buried, they quickly turn to how to replace her because they need another green witch to have a full coven. There is a glimmer of true regret from Agatha, and that's about it. But she quickly covers that up before joining the group to cast a summoning spell to bring a new green witch to join them on the road. And that's pretty much the extent of any mourning for poor Mrs. Hart. This is where Rio Vidal, played by Aubrey Plaza, re-enters the series, and her presence injects some new energy, and yeah, it's much needed energy, into the story and the cast by stirring up the complications with Agatha. There is a somewhat hostile peace between Rio and Agatha, confirming a past relationship between them that went sour somewhere along the way. And Rio's presence here tests that fragile alliance that's forming between some of the other witches as they enter the second trial. The witches go into the next house on the path, which has a kind of groovy 70s vibe, complete with funky clothing and a music studio jam session trial that is targeted at Alice, the protection witch, whose mother wrote the ultra popular Witches Road song. They easily and quickly figure out the song is a protection spell and that in the real world, it was keeping Alice safe because somewhere at any given point in time, someone would be playing that song, casting protection on Alice. However, playing the song while on the witch's road also gives the spell a boost of power to actually break the curse. It's an interesting twist, granted, but there isn't a sense of urgency in the episode that creates a tangible sense of danger for any of the characters, which makes the trial just a bit anticlimactic. I mean, yeah, honestly, it's, I don't know, as slow as the episode is, there are a few high points in it. The most interesting thing is the confirmation that the witch's power really is tied to the road, and it either enhances or returns their power to them while they are here doing the trials. A new theme also surfaces that the coven has to kind of work together to survive. And I think that's actually a good thing because these witches are really selfish and kind of self-obsessed. And finally, they seem to have figured out that they need to work together if they themselves to get out of this alive. And I think the inclusion of this theme actually will help with the development of their characters overall as they work to complete these trials, because the last episode really made them all look just incredibly unlikable. The most unexpected moment in the episode is when Teen is injured, which triggers a surprising emotional reaction from Agatha, making it clear that she really does care for him, and possibly she even hopes or believes him to be her son. However, Rio kind of shuts down that idea right away, causing Agatha to have another kind of emotional reaction to that news. And that actually adds a little bit to Agatha's character development. And it also further complicates the relationship that she has with Rio and kind of brings back, I don't know, there's something there that we're just not quite getting to in this story. And you do sense that there is a betrayal that's happened. Rio even acknowledges that, and that Agatha's trust was violated. And yet, all these things are true. But yeah, Rio's an enforcer and Agatha's kind of a murderous witch. So I'm just really curious how they're going to pull off the end of this story and the resolution of these two characters. This does add some nice complexity to the story that it was desperately missing, but the internal conflict for these two feels a bit forced because there isn't a whole lot of chemistry between them on the set. It's just really dry and flat. Disney Plus has clearly also reined in its production costs, making Agatha All Along one of the least expensive Marvel series that it has created. They haven't published the production cost for the series, but it's apparent in every shot. And I don't think that was the right call for this series about witches and magic, which requires a certain amount of spectacle to go along with the story. Also, every episode requires multiple sets. Last week was the New England style beachfront mansion, and this week's episode has a retro 70s music vibe that leans in on practical effects and set design, in addition to the forest scenery all along the road. All of these practical effects are machined, handcrafted, sculpted, painted, or stitched, creating fabricated sets, props, and scenery. But there's really very little CGI. And while physical sets can be expensive, coming in at, I don't know, around 100,000 to 200,000 per set, depending on the labor costs and materials, and CGI costs can range from 2,000 to 5,000 per minute, according to sources like the Los Angeles Film School or the Motion Tree or Action VFX. It seems like increasing the CGI budget just a little bit to elevate the sense of wonder within the series would have gone a long way, and it would have been a wise decision within this series specifically. That, I don't know, I guess it's likely to come in around 30 million based upon unverified comments that Agatha All Along actually has a lower budget than Echo, and it really shouldn't. It needs more CGI to make it feel believable in this magical world that they're in. The base level for any science fiction or fantasy story, especially something told within the Marvel universe, is to establish a sense of wonder that infuses the story with that something special that's largely absent from realistic stories that are developed for mainstream audiences. And it feels like Agatha All Along kind of leans more in that realistic mainstream audience area than in a fantasy world for Marvel audiences. And while it's harder and harder to generate that sense of wonder, CGI is a fairly easy way to add spectacle to a visual medium like film. And when it's missing from a series about magic and witches, it's noticeable. And when a network television show like Charmed, from when was that film? The 1990s or early 2000s? When Charmed feels more magical than a Disney series like Agatha All Along, the story will feel flatter and less polished, which impacts the action and energy in every single episode. We are halfway through the season and the series needs to address the pacing issues, add a little more magic, and give more reasons to care about these characters. The formulaic episode structure they're using is dragging things out and flattening the story arcs. While there are glimmers of potential, particularly in Agatha's emotional development, the story desperately needs to raise the stakes, to shed some of these underwhelming storylines and dialogue. And the action that we have seen so far just isn't delivering any meaningful level of angst or anxiety that you would expect in a series like this. So, Agatha All Along, how did you feel about this episode? Was Rio Vidal's return as the new Green Witch, was it good enough? Did it keep you interested? Did it add that extra element that kind of spurred your interest? Let me know what you're feeling about the series. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more reviews because there are definitely more coming. Stay tuned for the review for Agatha, for can't even say it anymore, for Agatha, episode number 5. All right, see you later. Bye for now.